MouseNJoypad.com bring you another original.
Hi, Scott Davidson here with Mouse N Joypad. I'm joined with Lee Blacklock, one of the developers for Beyond Flesh and Blood. Can you just summarise the game for us very quickly for those that don't know?
Okay, so Beyond Flesh and Blood is a third-person action shooter, very gory, over-the-top violent action games. You're basically tasked with taking back locations on the surface of the Earth. You do that by moving through the areas with big mechs, tearing people to pieces and mowing them down, basically. So
that's what we like to hear. Now, this game's been in development for quite a while now.
It has, yeah.
And it's gone through quite a few upgrades. Could you take us through some of them?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we started off very, very small. There was just the four of us to start with, and we were trying to come up with a concept and explore that concept, see if it was something that could work. Now, we started out on the Unreal Engine 3. As we've scaled up and time's passed, we've got the new consoles out, and the scale of the project's got bigger and bigger, so we decided to move to Unreal Engine 4. Now, that's been quite time-consuming and taken up a lot of resources. So we've since upgraded our team, a lot more members of the team now. So we're sitting like 18 people from 4. So yeah, but the game's looking much better for being in Unreal 4.
Okay, and this is set to release on its PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4.
Yes, correct, yeah.
It is.
Yeah, so basically we want to use Steam as well to release on early access at the end of October, around that time. Then the consoles will be very early next year, so definitely in the first quarter to first half of 2016.
Okay, are you looking into the Xbox One early access program that they recently started?
Not currently, but it's definitely an interesting proposition. I would definitely look into it, yeah. Now we're using the Steam's one, so it might be worth doing, yeah. I mean, we're on the Idea Xbox program at the minute, so we're in talks with Microsoft about things like this, so yeah, it's definitely something to talk about.
Okay, and could you talk us through some of the frames that you mentioned before that you'll play as?
Okay, so you basically start out day one playing as a character called Ethan, and he takes control of these combat frames. Day one for Ethan is he's supposed to be an everyday first day on the job. He takes control of a engineering frame, so it's a non-combat application, but it's very big. It's like a moving JCB. The Mark 1 is like a 12-foot sort of power loader, but with a much more agility. So you basically start out the game as an engineer, but then you're thrust further and further into the combat applications. As that happens, you upgrade through 4 different combat frames, which have more increased agility and combat capabilities as you move through the game. So you start with the big 12-foot guy. He's knocking people left and right, tearing to pieces, smashing through walls. And then right at the end of the game, you end up with this human-sized frame that's like an elite frame. He'll move really fast, jump to great heights, and also tear people apart. So you've still got that strength, but you've got the advanced weaponry like the high rate of fire machine guns, rockets, lock-on, lots of things like that.
Okay, what do you think is the unique aspect beyond Flesh and Blood as opposed to other mech games?
When people say mech games, I think that they probably, and personally I do as well, think of the Western mech games like MechWarrior and other things like that. Now, we're going for a very fast-paced action game, so it's not the kind of, and they're really good fun to play, the Western mechs, I love that sort of stuff, but they're very much slow-paced, upgrading, changing your loadout, whereas we are very much a third-person action game that has the mechs, or combat, what we say combat frames, as the avatar. So the difference is the really fast-paced gameplay of ours. So we don't use cover. The AI will use cover, but we have dodge mechanics where you can return fire. So it's a much fast-paced, constantly in the action sort of game.
Okay, so it's more Zone of Enders than Armored Core?
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely with the pace of play, yeah. One of the other interesting mechanics, because you're on a space station and you're controlling these combat frames just with your mind and a VR headset, you can't die. The machines can be destroyed, and that'll affect your points or score, combat efficiency score. But rather, in some of the games, you'll die and it'll sort of reverse time back to a checkpoint and you'll continue on. With us, as soon as a mech is destroyed or a combat frame is destroyed, another one is fired straight in via drop pod, you reconnect to that and you're back in the exact same battlefield carrying on through that.
Okay, so with that mechanic, what is the danger for the player Is it purely a points-based consequence to dying?
Yes, so your combat score will be massively reduced. So what we're hoping is that people will replay the levels and get like the S or A rank, if you will. So yeah, what it does allow us to do is to constantly let people get back into the action. So it doesn't like, we're trying to create a quite hardcore experience. So it's going to be very difficult to play, but very challenging and fun. So to balance that out, we let the player keep going back in and in and in. Now, the player that wants to do that isn't hindered by, reverse time, reverse time. They're allowed to still go back in, and continue playing. But for the hardcore, they'll go in and they'll be very angry that they've lost the mech. They'll want that point score on that high rank, so yeah.
So you're aiming more for the perfectionist or completionist?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. We want somebody to really get hold of the controls, really get an understanding of them, and to be dodging out of fire, going into slow-mo, returning fire, taking them out, gaining extra points by getting in close and doing the sync kills where he turns apart and do stuff like that. So yeah, very much want them to have a very visceral sort of fully controlled experience, so they're really controlling the outcome of everything that happens.
Okay, is there anything else you can tell us about the game? Its story, an aspect of its story perhaps?
Yeah, one of the things that I love, the choices we've made, is to set it in Manchester. So it is in a sci-fi world, so it's set 200 years in the future in Manchester city centre, after a great global war 100 years previous. So it's like a war-torn sci-fi version of Manchester, and that's something we'd really like to explore as a concept.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you say that you're aiming for it to be in early access.
That's right, yeah. So early access, hopefully end of October, roughly around that time, and then consoles and other releases early 2016.
Okay, well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Oh, sorry, yeah, maybe we've actually started experimenting with VR, so we've currently got an Oculus Rift, and we're going to use some of the other VR headsets as well to see what we can do. Very early stages, but we're just experimenting at the minute and just seeing if it'll fit our game or if there's any interesting way that we can integrate it into the game. So yeah, that's kind of exciting at the minute.
That does sound quite interesting. I think the VR would definitely add a whole new layer to it.
It definitely fits with the sort of concepts and themes that we've got going in the game. So yeah, like the character actually be on a space station controlling the mech through this headset and headgear. So yeah, it's like, yeah, I think it definitely fits in with that sci-fi theme as well.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your time, Lee. Thank you.